Hello everyone, welcome to Kiwi School. On this tutorial, you're gonna learn how to install Kiwi on the Ubuntu operating system or any other operating system that is based on Debian. So on the end of this tutorial, you're gonna have a professional environment to create any Python project, not only Kiwi projects. So the plan of this tutorial is that you're gonna install Git, PyEnv, Poetry, and finally you're gonna install and run Kiwi on your computer. The first thing we are gonna do on this tutorial is installing Git. Git is the most popular version control system in the world. Practically all developers nowadays are using Git, and with Git protocol, it's going to help you to track the changes you make on your code throughout the time, and then you can host all these changes on a platform like GitHub, GitLab, and then you can also collaborate with multiple people on the same project. So it's very easy here. How you're gonna do it? You're gonna open the terminal, and then you're gonna type git -- version, and if you do not have Git installed, you're finally gonna type sudo apt-get install Git. So let's go. On your operating system, please, the first thing you must do is opening the browser. Okay, put the browser here and put the terminal on the other side. Go to kiwischool.com, open this tab here and go to Kiwi installation. Scroll down and go to Ubuntu guide. So this is the tutorial we are gonna follow. First thing you're gonna do here is check if you have Git installed, and then finally you're gonna try to install it if you do not have it. So let's go. Git version, it says I do not have Git installed. So basically you can copy the command and then paste it here. You're gonna ask for your password, and then that's it. It's installed on your system. The next thing you're gonna do is installing the build dependencies. Build dependencies are libraries and tools and other resources required to compile and build a software. So here we are gonna install a list of build dependencies, and it's very easy. You simply go here, click how to install the build dependencies. First it says type sudo apt update. So you're gonna update, and here you can click on this button, copy to clipboard, then go here and paste. Press enter and wait a little. Okay, finished. Now that we have installed the build dependencies, the next thing we are gonna do is installing PyEnv. PyEnv is a Python version management tool. This means that you can switch between different Python versions. You can install Python 3.8, 3.10, and then you can say which project is going to use which Python version. And it's very important for you to not install anything using your system Python, because your system Python is for your operating system. And if your operating system changes the Python version, your project is going to be broken, because probably all the libraries that you're using are not going to be automatically updated to a new Python version. So by using PyEnv, you're not going to have any problems because you're not using your system Python. So how can you install PyEnv? You're gonna open the terminal, you're gonna clone the PyEnv repository, and then you're gonna compile it, and then you're gonna add it to your path, and that's it. So let's go here, how to install PyEnv. Click here. First, you can clone the repository. So let's clone it. Paste. Okay. Now let's compile PyEnv. Finish it. Now we are gonna add PyEnv to our path. So click here, click on paste. And then here it says close the terminal and open it again. So let me close it. Then type PyEnv version. Okay, PyEnv has been installed successfully. We are quite done. Next step now is installing Python using PyEnv. This is why we installed PyEnv, because PyEnv is going to install Python for us. So here we are going to simply open the terminal and type PyEnv install a specific Python version. So if you are curious which Python versions you can install, on this tutorial we are going to be installing 3.11.7, but depending on when you watch this tutorial, maybe years later, you can install another version. So for example, you can go here, type PyEnv install list. Then you're gonna see a very big list of possible versions. Scroll up, and here you can see which Python versions you can install. I think it's good for you to install the newest versions, but do not install a Python version that is so new that it's still being developed. So in this case, we are going to install a stable version, which is 3.11.7. And how we are going to do this? We're going to simply type pyenv install 3.11.7. Then we are going to wait a little for the installation to finish. Okay, we finished the Python installation. Now we need to set the global Python version to the Python version we have just installed. So here you can type pyenv global 3.11.7. Now if you type Python version, you see it's already using the Python version we have set. So for example, if I type Python, look at this. It's already using Python 3.11.7. What's the next step? The next step is installing Poetry. But what is Poetry? It's a tool for dependency management and packaging in Python. What does that mean? When you're installing a Python library, it depends on multiple libraries. So one library depends on 3 libraries, and every library also depends on other libraries. So there is a tree of dependencies that you do not need to know what do you need to install. When you use Poetry, it knows exactly what it needs to install for your library to work. Also, it helps you for other things. Okay, how are you gonna install Poetry? Basically, you open the terminal, you're gonna type this command, and then you're gonna add Poetry to your path, and that's it. So let's do it. Let's go here on install Poetry. How to install Poetry? You're gonna open the terminal, you're gonna type this command. Okay, now we are gonna add Poetry to our path. So simply copy this command and then paste. Now we are gonna check if Poetry has been installed successfully. Then you type Poetry -- version. It's saying, oh, command not found. It's because we actually need to close the terminal. Okay, close the terminal. So close the terminal and open it again. Poetry -- version. Okay, now we have Poetry installed. So what's the next step? So let's configure Poetry. So there are 2 configurations which are very important for you to do only once. One is Poetry config virtual envs in project true. What this command is going to make is that every time it's going to create the virtual environment in the folder of your project. So for example, if your project is on a specific folder, the virtual environment is also going to be on the same folder. It's very important to do that because otherwise you're gonna have trouble in the future when you need to inspect the libraries that you're using on your project. Sometimes by default, Poetry install the libraries on a cache folder and it's more difficult to inspect these libraries using your IDE. Another command we are gonna do here is virtual envs create true. So every time you type Poetry install, it's going to create the environment for you. So let's go. Let's go here in Poetry configuration on the Kiwi School website. Click to copy to clipboard and then paste. And there's this other command and also paste. Perfect. Poetry is already configured for you. Now let's start a Kiwi project using Poetry. So let's go. Oh, there's an extra step here for you to install Visual Studio Code, which is an IDE, which is a complete code editor that has extensions. It has everything you need. So on the future tutorials, we are gonna be using VS Code and we also recommend for you to use it. It's a very good IDE, one of the most used, the most popular in the world. So basically enter this website and install it. So let's go here. Okay, let's install VS Code. Okay, we finished the installation of VS Code. So now let's start a Kiwi project using Poetry. So how are you gonna do that? Let's go here. We are going to create a folder called Kiwi School. And then after creating this folder, we are gonna enter this folder and then we are gonna start the Poetry wizard. So let's do it right now. So click here. First, create a folder called Kiwi School. Enter that folder using change directory, Kiwi School. Now we are gonna type Poetry in it. When you type poetry init, it's going to ask you a lot of questions like, what's your package name? Do you see there is a green letters here? So this thing is the default value. If you press enter right now, it's gonna use the default value. If you type another thing, it's gonna use the thing you type. So I'm gonna use the default values. So enter version, enter description, my first project. You can leave it blank. Author, Kivy School, licensing price enter. And here, this is the only important step. It's asking you the compatible Python version. We are gonna set right now to use only this one. Later you can change that, but let's say we want to use only this Python version. Then press enter, 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 enter. Now the thing has been generated, which is the pyproject.toml file. So if you press ls, you can see that the pyproject.toml file has been generated. And what this file says, basically says exactly what kind of dependencies our project have. Now that we already have our pyproject.toml, one thing that we want to do is using the correct Python version on Poetry. So how we are gonna do that? We are gonna type poetry env info to collect some information about the Poetry environment. So let's go here. It says check the Python version used by Poetry. How can you do that? You say poetry env info. Okay, it's basically saying that my system base is using the Python version that we installed through PyEnv, which is the 3.11.7 version. But here it says that our virtual environment is not using anything. So where's the path? Where's the executable? We need to change that. We need to point to python.3.11 inside the .venv folder. So how we are going to do that? First thing we're going to do here is type pyenv with Python. It's already pointed to the correct path, which is the 3.11.7 path installed by pyenv. If not, one thing that you can do here is type pyenv local 3.11.7. What this command does, it's basically saying to Poetry to use this Python here, which is the Python version we installed through pyenv. So basically we are saying to Poetry to use this Python here. So let's copy and then let's paste. As you can see, let me type code space dot to open this folder on VS Code. As you can see, the .venv folder has been created, which is exactly what we want. And if you check here on this bin folder, the Python 3.11.7 is already here, which is the Python version we want our project to use. The next step now is actually activating the virtual environment. So you basically type poetry shell. So let's go here. Let me make this a little bigger. So if you go here and type Poetry shell, you can see that Kivy School-py 3.11 is here, showing that the virtual environment is activated. If you want to deactivate it, you can simply type exit, type Poetry shell again, it's gonna reactivate the virtual environment. The next step now is actually installing Kivy. So let's do it. Basically, you can type poetry add Kivy. So let's do it. Come here, type poetry, add, Kivy. Perfect. We already have Kivy installed. We are quite ready to finish this tutorial. Now let's run a Kivy Hello World example. How we are gonna do that? Go back to the website and then let's create a file called main.py. Go here, type main.py, okay, and then click to copy the code, okay, Control V, Control S, and on your terminal, type python main.py. So let's go here, python main.py, and that's it. Congratulations, you have installed Git, pyenv, Poetry, and Kivy on your Ubuntu operating system. Please keep an eye on Kivy School so you can learn through our beginner challenge and you can keep learning more and more.